Let's get started. Reports from Pakistani media are claiming that Pakistan and the International Monetary Fund have managed to revive the country's bailout program. Earlier this month, Pakistan unveiled a $47 billion budget for 2022-23. The budget tightened fiscal consolidation in order to convince the IMF to resume the much-needed bailout payments. On Tuesday, the two sides held talks over macroeconomic and fiscal targets. And as per the reports, Pakistan and the IMF have now reached an understanding on the federal budget for 2022-23. The agreement will lead to the revival of the extended fund facility. The IMF mission will finalize monetary targets with the State Bank over the next couple of days. The IMF's resident representative to Pakistan, Esther Perez Ruiz, was reported saying that, and I quote, discussions between the IMF staff and the authorities on policies to strengthen the macroeconomic stability in the coming years continue. And important progress has been made over the FY23 budget. However, the IMF later said that additional measures were needed to bring Pakistan's budget in line with the key objectives of the IMF program. Pakistan's Finance Minister Miftah Ismail reportedly said that all budget-related issues had been settled with the fund and that Pakistan has now locked the budget in consultation with the IMF. But before the IMF board takes up Pakistan's case for approval and subsequently disburses about $1 billion next month, certain actions would be necessary for implementation. The authorities in Islamabad have committed to generate 436 billion rupees of more taxes and increase the petroleum levy gradually up to 50 rupees per litre. The government also agreed to do away with provisions for additional salaries and pensions. In 2019, Pakistan entered the 39-month $6 billion IMF program, but only half the funds have been disbursed to date. The last disbursement was in February and the next tranche was to follow after a review in March. But the ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan's government introduced costly fuel price caps, which threw fiscal targets and the program off track. Now, Pakistan's new government has removed these price caps and fuel prices have gone up by up to 70% in a matter of 3 weeks. The development comes as Pakistan's economy teeters on the brink of a financial crisis. Foreign exchange reserves are drying up fast and the Pakistani rupee has been hitting record lows against the US dollar until today, when after the government secured the much-anticipated deal, the Pakistani rupee finally snapped its losing streak. And now for more details, our Pakistan Bureau Chief is joining us live from Islamabad, Anas Malik. Anas, thanks so much for joining us. Reports suggest that Pakistan and the IMF have essentially managed to revive the country's bailout program. What are the conditions that have been set for this bailout and how will it affect the people of Pakistan?
Well, Priyanka, what we understand is that it's a broad agreement that has been agreed upon, and on Friday is when we're expecting that this agreement will in principle be signed. Now, what we're seeing is that a 400 billion Pakistani rupees increase in the federal budget. Remember, the government recently presented a 9.5 trillion Pakistani rupees annual budget for the fiscal year 2022-2023. But we're seeing that a 400 billion increase has been reported over there, and now it will be taken to about 9.9 trillion instead of the 9.5 trillion that it was initially agreed upon. A petroleum levy of PKR 5 rupees per month will be done on the on petroleum prices, and overall we'll be seeing an increase of about 50 rupees of levy in the year to come. A general sales tax volume has also been increased. Now, what we understand is that Esther Perez Ruiz, the representative for the IMF resident representative for the IMF in Pakistan, was quoted as saying that discussions between the IMF staff and authorities on policy for strengthening macroeconomic stability continue. IMF important progress has been made on the budget for the fiscal year 2022-2023. Now, the Pakistani Finance Minister Miftah Ismail, a short while back, speaking to a select group group of journalists has said that they're expecting the IMF bailout to come through. It has not been agreed upon as yet. Yes, there has been progress that has been made. He's also expecting, or rather hoping, to increase the amount of the bailout and the duration as well. That would be the key, because that is an integral part on how to revive the Pakistani economy, given the crippling state.
Right. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.